If you would humor me for a moment, I would like to tell you a story. This is a story about a man who plays games for the internet. This man had readied himself for the task of creating a video showcasing a particular game. This game he had never played, for you see, this was his preferred style. He felt that it was a bit easier to form ideas around something he had no preconceived notion toward. But this time, things would not go the way he planned. From the start, there was something wrong. Why must he make odd allowances for this game? He reluctantly abided by these commands and moved on, thinking that the worst had passed. And for a time, it seemed that it had. He spent an hour playing this game, only retiring from it due to physical limitations his poor quality chair forced upon him. Done with this game for now, because my butt hurts. He began writing notes and what he perceived as jokes. There was a personal anecdote in his first draft, recounting his experience with birds, and his assertion that the parrot in the game was a Spixus macaw. It's me, a Spixus macaw. Upon further research, he changed his mind and thought it might have been a blue-throated macaw, or perhaps an artistic combination of the two. He digressed and began contemplating the music of the game. He liked it. He had no further comment. Though he made content pertaining to the quality of video games, he was quite the imbecile. His mind conjured up impressions of the game. It seemed to remind him of the content he used to see on Newgrounds. He also felt a strange sensation about the game that reminded him of MapleStory. The next day, he intended to play more of the game. He did not think an hour was adequate time to form a clear judgment. This is when old fiends reared their obnoxious heads. For when he began the game anew, he found he could not interact with the game's NPCs. When he tried, it spat him out, rending him from its world and into the shadowy darkness of the Steam library page. He attempted multiple times to no avail. Finally, he attempted something radical. He abandoned the NPC that forsook him and headed off. Here, he found the game he was familiar with. The music was enticing. The combat He approached a cat in a hat. Nothing terrible has ever come from a cat in a hat, he thought, forgetting past traumas.
I'll get you, and I'll look like a bloody accident.
But just as it had done before, the game refused him. He was once again sunk into darkness and deposited back into his own realm. To this day, he has not gone back there, to that two-dimensional plane of rejection. He sometimes thinks to himself that maybe it's playable on console, but he is not ready to steep that low just yet. For now, the game sits in his library, unmoving, waiting.